Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Maleficent. And we have her detachable skirt, her detachable wings, and her body with her hat that has these horns on. So we're going to get started, and I should say this is all done on a single loom. We're going to get started by doing the things that we need to attach first. And I thought we'll start with the skirt. A lot of you have been very familiar with making my standing up princesses, so it's going to be no surprise to you how to actually do this. You can do it on a monster tail, or you can do it on a regular loom. I'm going to show you how to do it on a regular loom. The colours that you're going to need are a flesh tone, black. I'm also going to be using the new Persian black and gold for her wings, and if you choose to use a mouth, then a red band for her mouth. Also, I'm using some mini pony beads. These are a 7 by 4mm and they're in black. Alright, let's get started. We've got a single loom. We're going to pop out that middle column, and then we're going to push out the big base plate, because we don't need that. We're going to double band. I'm sorry, I'm telling you fibs. We're not double banding at all, we're single banding. Make sure that your columns are the same height. It doesn't really matter if the arrow is facing towards you or not. We will be, when we hook it up, it will be facing towards us, this open part of the peg. Take your first band and you're going to do a figure 8. So an infinity loop with it, and we're going around for our first layer. As you can see, we've used 8 pegs. You have 8 pegs on your monster tail, so you would be doing exactly the same around these 8 pegs. That is our first row. Then lay another single band, and we're only working in single bands, on top. You do not twist these. None of the rest of the bands are going to need a twist. So this is row number 2. Push down a bit. Let's do row number 3. Flick somebody across the room. Alright, I'm going to be using my Rainbow Loom hook. I like this one because it's got a very deep hook, and I find that really quite good when I'm doing this type of work. So we're going to dig down here and find the bottom 2 bands. Loop them up. Pull them out and loop them up. Just the bottom 2. And then push everything down on your pegs. And make sure you put your loom back together if you break it. Alright, so that was 3. We're going to need to do 16 of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count out 1, I've done 3, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. So every time I do a row, I'm going to take my first one from this pile, okay, and then this pile will get lower and I will know what row I'm on. So this is row number 4. Once you've laid all the bands, dig down and find the bottom two, and you pull them over like that. Make sure it's just the bottom two. If in doubt, if you think that maybe the order has got muddled up, just line them up again and just grab one at a time. There's the first one, and there's my second one. It's quite tricky when you're working with black or the same colour over and over. So that is number 4. We're going to go on doing that until we get to the end of this little pile, and we're on our last one. Okay, now you pause the video because you're going to keep going, and then when you restart you're going to be at this stage, and this stage I have just laid the bands for number 16, row 16. Okay, so if you've restarted your video, let's grab the bottom 2 bands and loop them over. Now we're left with 4 bands on each peg. We're going to lift the next bottom 2 over, so we're only left with 2 bands on each peg. Like that. Once we get to this stage, you're going to pick where you want. I'm going to go in the middle here somewhere. Poke your hook down, and we're going to just gently ease this off our loom, and I try and put a finger on the end ones so they don't pop off. So there we go, like this. And now we're going to get 2 black bands and slide all of these on. So slide all those loops onto those 2 black bands. Like that. Reclaim the end of your bands. Now if it's looking a bit funny, it's probably just because it's a bit out of shape, and that's okay. Take the 2 closest to you up, over and off, and you have a slip knot. What we're going to do is tie this in a knot. So poke your hook back here, and what we need to do is bring this through like that and just tie a knot. There's the one that I want to grab, like that, and tie a knot. It does not matter about this loop at the back, that doesn't matter. Now the way to spread this out is to slide it onto a spoon, like this, and make sure that everything is eased out nicely, and it is. So I'm going to take that back off, and we will be ready to do our next portion. Alright, so next I think we'll do her horns. Okay, we can do these on a hook. We're going to start with an end cap, and then we do 1 and 2 very tight bands after. So let's start with a single black band, wrap it once, twice and 3 times. Then we're going to take a single band, stretch it, loop it on itself, and slide that end cap on like that. and reclaim the end. That makes it tighter. Alright, let's do that again. Like that. And I think we'll do one more. Like that. So move that down your hook. Now take double band, wrap once and twice, and then take a double band and put it on the end of your hook. We'll slide that wrapped band on like that. Now, using this first part that we made, take the first 2 bands up and over like that. Okay, take those 2 off your hook and put the other side on. You still want to hold on to those though. Then take these 2 loops and move them up and over, and then reclaim the end of your bands like that. So that's our first sort of, as you can see, that's that bit there. Now we have 1 and 2, and we're going to do 3. So take a pair and slide on, another pair and slide on, and one more pair and slide on. Now if you have a look, you can see this is very straight, whereas this is kind of bent. That's because you can bend the bands to sort of be a bit rounded when we need to. Okay, so that's our first one. I'm going to sit that on a holding hook, okay, as we make our next one. So if you remember, we started with a single band, wrapped it once and twice and 3 times, if I believe. Take a single band, stretch it into a figure 8, loop it on itself and move those on. Another one, and one more. Now we're going to do our little junction. Take 2 black bands, wrap once and twice, and that slides onto 2 black bands, and then take that first set that you made, move the first 2 loops over, take this off your hook, those first 2 loops off your hook, and swap them with the other side, making sure you still hold that. Then take the next 2 loops up and over, and now we reclaim our bands. Now we have 3 pair to do, so here's our first pair, our second pair, and our third pair. Okay, we're going to put those on a holding hook like that. So they're the horns, they're now ready. So we've got our skirt and the horns. Now we really need to work on the wings. We are going to use a single loom. Let's put it back together, and we are going to have to use our Rainbow Loom base removal tool because we're going to be moving things forward. Now the configuration that we are going to need, pop this middle column out and raise it, not so that it's just 1 slot higher, you want it to be 2 slots higher, so that all 3 of these line up, so it's a full slot higher, full peg higher. Okay, now as I said, we're going to be using the Persian black bands for this. I haven't really used them for much else, so not really sure how I feel about them at this stage, but they seem to be quite nice for this. We're double banding. The arrow is facing towards you, or the open part of the peg. We're going to put 2 bands on this peg here, just lying there doing nothing for the time being, because they will get stretched down to here. Alright, so double banding, as I said. Let's put 2 here. Now we work down the loom. And we're going to leave 3 pegs at the bottom here with nothing on them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's lay the bands for our second column. And we're going to finish 2 pegs shorter than this one. So you've got 1 and 2. Alright, now let's do the third column. Again, you're going to finish 2 pegs shorter than the column in front of it. So that means this one finishes here. So you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 pair of band there. We're going to put an end cap on each end of these. So take a single band, wrap it once and twice, and pop, oops, on the end here. These are silicone bands and they're a little tighter to work with. If you don't have the Persian black, just black works as well, or dark grey. Okay, so I'll put my end cap on each of those. Now we have to put crossover bands. Crossover band is just going to be a single band that you stretch across. Now, if you feel more comfortable using a clear band because it will stretch further, then that's completely up to you. Okay, but I'm going to use these. I'm just stretching a single band across these 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and then across these 2 I'm going to take a single band, stretch it, figure 8, loop it on itself, and I'm just going to place between these 2, the first 2 columns. Oops. As I said, because it's silicone, it's harder to stretch, so I'm using my hook to help me. Alright, we're ready to loop these up. Move things out the way a bit. We're going to dig down and grab those bottom 2 bands and loop forward. And when we get to here, we're going to loop this one up to the top there. Let's loop this second column up. Now the trickiness of this one is that when you get here, you're going to dig down and find those two bottom black bands, or the Persian black bands, but they need to come up and loop down here to this peg. So take your time, that can be a bit tricky. Now we're here, we can take this first column off our loom. Okay, just be careful that you're not disengaging anything on the second column. Alright, like that. Push everything down. Now, using your base removal tool, pop out the big base plate, and we're going to move it forward one slot and push down, and then you can take your first column and move it forward, and it will sit in line with the column in front of it. Okay, you're going to take two bands and place them here. They will move across to the next column when we're ready for it. Grab the two bands that are sitting here doing nothing, there we go, and stretch them all the way down to here. I can see that they're a bit twisted, so I'm going to endeavour to untwist. Alright, so again, double banding, and we're going to do 3 pair, like that. Drag these ones, so not the first one, there's nowhere for that to go, but drag this one across, this one across, and this one across. We need to put an end cap on that one. Single band, wrap it once and twice, and that pops on here. Now we're ready to loop up this column. Again, when you get to here, you're digging down past all those bands and finding the bottom two, and as you pull them up, you have to drag it all the way to this peg here. Alright, but now we're safe to take this column off. Please use a hook or something, the back of a hook, to help you take these off. The last thing you're going to want to happen is for your bands to break as you're in the middle of this. Alright, so make sure you push everything down. Let's turn our loom over, pop out the mini base plates and budge them forward one section and the bottom one, and then we can move this column forward, and it is again going to sit in line with this. Double band and place on this peg here opposite where this diagonal was. You're then going to take the two bands that were sitting there doing nothing and stretch them across to here. Alright, double banding, just coming down 3 pair with a crosser with an end cap, like that. Now at this stage what I need to do is drag these over to here, but this is the last time that we can use these two crossover bands. We need to use fresh ones when we get to here. Dig down and loop up like that, and then dig down here to find those bottom 2 bands and loop to the side. Alright, we're ready to take this column off. Again, make sure that nothing comes off your middle column. Push this one down. Take take your base removal tool rather, and move it forward 1, and then move your pegs forward. Now at this stage we're going to want to, we've done 2, we're going to keep it the same height. The next one goes up a full 1, okay, but what we're going to do is this band here, so we've got column 1, column 2, column 3, this is 4, this is 5, so this one is number 6, and this is where we have to come all the way up to the top peg here. So I'm going to pop those there, alright, because we've got to stretch those all the way up, which we will do now. So stretch those all the way up to here, and then let's lay our bands. Then come to here, we're going to put an end cap. Now, as I said, we need new crossover bands. So take a single band and stretch it from the middle peg to the right hand side, and from the middle peg to the right hand side. Now here we're also going to have to start with another crossover band. So take a single band, and what we're going to do is lift the top 2 bands up, place that single, and then replace those 2 bands. So this one will stretch across. We're ready to loop up the middle column. Dig down, find the 2 bottom bands, and loop up, and loop up, and loop up. And now we dig down and find those 2 bottom bands and stretch them all the way up to here. We're ready to take this first column off. Make sure this is all secure. Base removal tool, we're going to be doing the mini ones. Move them forward like so. Then we can take that first column of pegs. Now this is when it's going to be these 2 pegs line up, but this is a full peg higher. Alright, we're going to put 2 bands on top here. We're going to take these 2 that we're doing nothing, stretch them across, and now let's lay our bands. If you remember, this is going to finish 2 further than these ones. So that's finished at the same spot. Let's go another pair. There's 1 pair, and 2 pair, and an end cap. And let's drag the crossover bands over to incorporate those. Now we need a new one here and here. So just pop that on there. That will get stretched across to the 3rd one when we're ready. Alright, dig down, find the bottom 2 bands, loop up. And then dig down and find these 2 and loop up to the center here. This column is ready to come off. Push that down, our base removal tool, shove it forward 1, and this column is in line with these. Okay, we don't need to put another one on the end here because this is our last column. Stretch that down to here, and then let's put our pairs down. If you remember, it's going to be 2 below where the last one finished, and it's 9 pairs, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and an end cap. Now drag these crossover bands over, but if you remember, we also have to do the little one here. So a single band, and as I said, I'm doing it on my hook because I'm using silicone bands and they're tight. You don't have to. All you need to do is take a single band and stretch it and place it between those. It's just a little bit tight. Now we can loop up all of the remaining bands on our loom. Going to dig down and find the bottom 2 here, and they are going to come down to this peg here. This is going to be the peg that we're tying things off at. Alright, so when we get to here, I use 2 bands because I like the insurance. Dig your hook down and poke it out the side. Put your 2 bands on the end of your hook and drag it back through the center of that peg and out to the back side of it, like that, and reclaim the end of your bands. The 2 closest to you go up, over and off, and you pull tight into a slip knot. And let's ease this off the loom. Please be gentle. We don't want any screams of anguish as your bands break. Okay, so these are the wings. I'm going to hide these. I'm going to go under here and pull them through like that, and then I'm going to go under the next one and pull them through. So that they are hidden inside the wings. Okay, so those are how we're going to do the wings. Now, how I've added the bit to attach them is literally, I've taken a single band and I've approximated where on the wings I wanted, and it was on these 2 bands here, on the center ones, and I pulled my single band through like that and did a slip knot, and the same on the other side, and then she basically wears the wings like a backpack. So let's drag that other one through and tie our slip knot like that. So using the figure that we've already made, all you do is put her arms through like so, and there you have her wings on her. Now I just did it in Persian bands. I would recommend doing it in black bands because her bodysuit is black, and then it will hide better. It will be better hidden on her when we do that. So let's put that to one side ready, or I'll put the black bands on quickly. Thread one through and do a slip knot, and thread another one through and do a slip knot. So those are now ready for when we're putting her all together. Now what we need to do is her body. Alright, now I'm going to be taking a tip from Crafty Ladybug, a friend of mine called Crafty Ladybug, Stephanie. Lovely, lovely lady, very talented. Please look her up on YouTube. Her name is Crafty Ladybug, and she has got this fantastic technique where you can actually put hair on the back of their head, which I love. And I have to admit I'd been faffing around with it for a while, but I never quite got it right, and hers is just fantastic. So let's put our loom back together in the offset configuration. So column 2 is going to be slightly higher than column 1 and 3. We're going to be having the arrow face towards us, or the open part of the peg face towards us. We're going to be double banding for the most part. Okay, so let's get started here. Let's take 2 black bands and place across here and here. And this is going to be our layer for the back of her head. I'm going to take a single band and place those across like that, and a single band across like that. Now, one of the things that we need to do is to take a black band and make an end cap, wrap it once and twice. And I'm just going to, actually I'm not, I'm going to stretch this one going to put another black band, another pair of black bands here. And mine is a little bit different than how Stephanie does hers, but that is okay. Take a single black band, wrap it once and twice. Ah, I have imposters in my black bands. Okay, let's pop an end cap here. I'm going to dig down past that end cap and I'm going to hook up to here. I only used single bands on these two as opposed to where I would normally use double bands. You're going to take the top single band I've got it on this side, it's harder to see, there we go, and loop it up, and the same here, loop it across and then loop this middle one up, dig down and loop up and loop up. Push these down. Okay, the ones that we've looped up, push down. We're going to lay skin tone bands now. We're going to skip where we would normally start and instead place 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Twisted, let me untwist it, there we go. take a single band, stretch it across like that. I'm going to do a single band across the eyes here. Take a single band, twist it once, twice and 3 times, and I'm going to place that there. Now my little eyes I'm going to thread onto a skin tone band like that. Use a metal threader, whatever you choose, just or a pair of floss or whatever. Attach that. If you don't use beads, you can use bands. Take a single band, wrap it around your hook 4 times, do that twice, one for each eye, and slide those onto the band. Lift this top part up over this peg, and then it acts like a crossover band. Okay, now we have horns to add. So this first one I'm going to just add to the top here like that, and then the other side, and this pivots, so I'm not too worried that it was facing the wrong way. This other side goes on this peg here. Okay, so these are our horns. Now let's lay the bands for the rest of her. She's going to have 2, I'm going to use 2 bands for her neck, not 3, because we already have another band behind there. I'm going to take this band here, the black band underneath, and lift that so that it sits on the back here, on the front of these 2 white bands, or skin tone bands. Now we're going to do the rest of her torso. 2 bands here, 2 bands here, and 2 bands here. I'm going to take a single black band, put my hook through it, and sit that on this peg, and do the same with another one like that. Okay, now let's do some black bands for her torso. These black bands go all the way, and column 1 and 3, all the way to the bottom of the loom. And then the other side as well. Oh, that's a horribly stretched one. Now the center. Two to the right, 2 to the left, an end cap, wrap it once and twice, and pop that here. Now let's do some crossover bands. I'm going to do a single band and stretch it into a figure 8 so that it's tighter on her hips. We'll do that actually on her waist, not her hips, so let's do that one above so her waist is tighter. A single one, not double band, not looped, for her hips. We'll do another stretched one for this area so that these 2 are the ones that are looped on themselves to make them tighter, and then a single one to go up here at the bust area. We have arms to do. Take a single band, wrap it once and twice, slide onto a pair of skin tone, and then we need 4 pair of black. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's going to sit here on her shoulder. Let's do another one. Single, wrap it once and twice, slide onto a double. Now we need one pair, two pair, three pair, and four pair, because that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 pair for the arm. So let's pop that on this shoulder, like so. We need to do shoes. Take 2 black bands, wrap once and twice, and slide onto 2 black bands, and reclaim the end. Another 2 black bands, wrap once and twice. Take these the two loops closest to you here, these ones, and move over so that they're like that. And then we're going to slide on to 2 black bands and reclaim, angle the foot, and it can go on the bottom of her trouser leg here. Let's do the same again. 2 black bands, wrap once and twice, slide onto 2 black bands, 2 black bands, wrap once and twice, and from this first set take these 2 loops here and move them over so that the wrapped bands are in the middle. Take a double band, slide the first 2 over, slide the wrapped bands over, and then slide the next 2 over, reclaim the end, angle your foot, and we will pop that on the end of this leg, like so. Okay, let's make a bit of room here. Let's start looping up. Dig down, find the bottom 2 black bands and loop up. You're only going for the bottom 2 black bands, and I know it can be tricky when you're just dealing with black. They all sort of merge into the same when you're doing the same colours. It's tricky. Now at this stage I want to do the groin area first, so dig down past that end cap, grab the 2 and move those to the left, and then the next top 2 and move those to the right. Dig down, find the centre one without dropping one and loop those up. Now we can loop the rest of the leg. I just like that because I think it looks nicer. There's a continuity in the pattern of bands going up the leg. Push these down, one shoulder to the throat, the other shoulder to the throat, and then let's do the chest to the throat. Now dig down, find the 2 skin tone bands, wiggle, 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 and place them above. Now what we're going to have to do, we want to get these 2 black bands that we placed on the top to come down. So dig your hook in, grab the 2 black bands and pull them forward. They're not going to move forward too much because there's that other black band at the back there which locks the hair in, but it can come forward some. Then dig down and grab the 2 top skin tone bands and loop them to the side. The next 2 skin tone bands and loop them to the side, and dig down and find those final 2. and loop them up. Now what we're going to do is find the 2 top skin tone bands only. Don't go for any of those black ones under there, they're already looped in. Just the skin tone. And the same here. Now as we dig down, we're getting these bottom 2 black bands and looping up and looping up. Our horns are a little bit skew-iff, but we can fiddle with those afterwards. Dig down, find the bottom 2 black bands, loop up and loop up. That feels like I only got 1 band. Oh no, I got 2. Let's grab 2 black bands to tie off with. Push your hook down the centre and out through the side. Place the 2 black bands on the hook and drag it back up through to the back side of this peg, and I can just see a band snapped. I'm going to fix that. See here, 1 snapped. Thank goodness I saw it before we started taking off the loom. Okay, so there's our broken band, and it is one of these. So that's easy enough to fix. I'm going to take some of these off, and I'm just going to pop that there, and then I will replace the bands that I just took off, like that. I'm going to dig down here, find that band, and make sure it's not twisted, and pop that on the peg. Okay, let's take 2 black bands, dig down, oops, put our hook out through the centre here, through the side, drag them back up to the back side of this peg, and take the 2 closest to you up, over and off, and pull into a slip knot. Let's take off the loom. I use, as you know, a hook to help me. I'm going to move the loom out of the way, stretch my little girl into shape. Okay, I'm going to hide these tie-off bands at the back of her head here by going under some of these bands. If I can, and dragging them back with me, like that. And then I'm going to just tuck them under here so that they're not in the way. Okay, so they're just going to get tied like that. Now, as you can see, she has the back of her head is covered. If you want the sides to be covered as well, and as you can see I have done it here on this one here, what you're going to do is take a couple of black bands, and starting here you're going to dig in and grab a couple of the skin tone and 2 of the black bands and pull, oops, put 2 black bands on your hook. Get a hook that actually works, Kate. Here we go. Pull them through. I can see I've only got 1. Come on. and reclaim the end. Take another pair, take this first one off, grab a little bit more of the next bands that you want to loop in, and then put your hook back on that, put your 2 bands on, slide through like this. I've only got 1 band there. Let's try that again. So I've slid through here. Okay, so I'm going to have get the arm out of the way, have my hook through these 2. I'm going to grab a little bit more, put the 2 new bands that I'm using on my hook and slide through, grab a little bit more, put my hook back through, and slide through, and I'm going to tie off like that. Now all I'm going to do is splay that open and pop the horn through like that, but that sort of gives her face the look as if she's wearing the hood. Okay, so let's do the other side. You're going to have to go through a couple of the black ones and some of the skin tone, pull your 2 black bands. I'm not having much luck pulling these through. 2 of the black bands, 2 of the skin tone. Pull it through like that. Grab a little bit more of the black bands. There we go. And another little bit of the skin tone. Another 2 black bands. Pull through. I only got 1. Let's try that again. So I'm back through those ones, through the 2 little black ones and through the skin tone. Get the hand out of the way. Pull these through. The trick is to keep it taut. Okay. And I think we did 1 more on the other side. So undo again, a little bit of black one, and go through that black one, reclaim, and pull through. Come here, you tricky minx. Reclaim. Now I want these to be on this side, because when I take these over and off, I want it to look the same as that. Splay this out, this last pair of loops, and put over the horn like so. So that's sort of tied up her face. Now, to put her skirt on, as I mentioned to you, we use a spoon, slide the skirt into the spoon like this. Now it's a bit tight. Pop her legs in to the bed of the spoon. Squish her down. And as I said, if you're used to having made my princesses, you're very familiar with this. Pull the skirt to the desired length, poke her feet in so she can stand up. Here's the loop that you're going to push your hook up the back of her dress. Grab those loops and just hide down the back here. Alright. Her wings are here. So take one side of the little slip knot that we made and pop an arm through and she's going to be wearing this like a backpack. Take the other side, splay it out, pop her hand through. Now, as most of you know, I'm not a huge fan of doing mouths on my figures, and it's going to be tricky for her to stand up a little bit because she's sort of wing heavy, so you sort of have to angle her so that she can, there we go, like that. So lastly, as a lot of you know, I don't actually usually like doing mouths on my figures of late, but some of you might like to put her red lipstick on. So what I would suggest doing is go in between the hair and the face, push your hook through, take a single red band and pull it out to the side like that, and put on a little S clip or C clip or whatever clip you happen to have. Okay, then the other side, again go through where her through the skin between the hair and the face, grab the band on the other side and pull through. Again, get another S clip, C clip, whatever clip you're using, and put on, and straighten her mouth up so it's not too crooked. And then all I would do is double back the clips, hide the clips inside the side of her head here. Make sure that's not going to fall off. So find a little space in the side of her head, push your hook through to hollow it out, because there should be a space between her hair and her face. Okay, and if you can find that, you can pop that clip in and push it with the back of your hook into that space like that. And let's do the same on the other side. So it's between the hair and if you can actually, I can actually see my other clip here. So if you can, pull it all the way through to the other side and then put your mouth, the other end of your lips, on the end of it, and that would be even more preferable. See how it's here? So you work the little clip through to the other side, there it is, and it's a fiddle factor, don't get me wrong. There it is. Put the other side of the mouth on it, so you've got a mouth on either side, and shove it back to the back of her head like that. And that is going to be fiddle factor extreme if you choose to do that. And I would suggest if you do it, make sure you've got the mouth in the exact position you want, because for me, I don't think I did a particularly awesome job placing her mouth on that. But as I said, I'm not a huge fan of having mouths on my figures. So there she is. You can do a small mouth, a big mouth, however you like. Pull her out a bit. There she is. Let's put her cape on. It's a bit chilly. There we go. And if you feel that that's too loose, see how that's a bit loose, all you need to do really is just undo the slip knot, because some bands, these are not, this particular one I don't think is a Rainbow Loom black, so instead just loop it like that and put her arm through both of those little loops like so, and that will make it tighter if the single loop is too loose. Alright, so there, my friends, we have Maleficent standing up in all her glory. I hope you enjoy making her. Take care.